Welcome guys to this short video about I'll be talking about artificial intelligence. Many of you guys don't know what actually artificial intelligence is, and actually many of you think artificial intelligence is actually a very difficult concept to understand. But I will be breaking down, and actually by the end of this presentation, I hope you know what we mean by artificial intelligence. So I'll be using some project which I am going to be using a handwritten digital combination model. So shall be following this as I'm also demonstrating artificial intelligence. So my names are Damia Owen James. That's my registration number, student number. Currently, I'm at Macquarie University doing a course or a program, Bachelor of Science in Software Engineering. So this is one of my projects which I'm doing. If you have any question about this presentation, you can email me via that email address. I'll be able to attend to your questions. So if you come to the definition, my model will be transforming some raw visual image data obtained from handwritten documents to a format which is understandable by a computer. So many of you guys, I think you have ever tried to apply for a national ID. Most of the times you are being required to enter data into a form. So that form you give to the guy who's registering, he will scan it. So how do you think the computer will know that this is an A, this is an A, this is a word, or this is something? So there are systems or there are models. So for using what systems, uh, there are models which actually transform that. So for my model will be mainly handling digits. So we scan that what you have inserted. For us, we shall take it as an image. So an image, we shall be able to give you the output. So we shall be able to know that this is an A, this is a line. So for how my model will be helping the community, those are the ways. And then we shall be, if you know about the SDGs in Uganda, you can read about it. So our model will be reducing inequalities, whether someone knows how to write or if someone doesn't know how to write, still the computer is able to determine what the person meant by writing a certain character. So thereby we shall be reducing inequalities, especially education inequalities. Then if you come to application, how am I going to apply artificial intelligence? You know, artificial intelligence, for it uses patterns and features of your digit. So when you take in that image which we have scanned, that digit will have features. So we shall look for corresponding features in our output in our classes to see where your data belongs and actually provide you with the available input or with the available output. So I'll be talking about it more in the near size to come. Then the type of data I've been talking about it, we are using mainly numeric data, and then the model will be using images, scanned images. Then if you can see, that's one example of a diagram. That's someone's handwriting. If you look at a 4, someone can say it's a 7, but that is a 4. How is the computer know? Is it how a computer is it able to know that that is a 4? We shall be talking about it. Then I come to differences between supervised and unsupervised learning. If you look at supervised learning actually for it, the computer is given both the input and the output, but this our input data is labeled. So when you put in for example, this enables us if someone puts in another character, for us we shall just look at the labeled data and we see any features or any corresponding parts with the input data such that we give you the corresponding output. So especially supervised learning, for it will be following, it's being trained by a human. Then, but for unsupervised, first it's only given the output. Nothing is given to the computer. It's actually only patterns. For unsupervised learning, it gives its own classes or its own data sets. So it thinks on its own. Nothing is given except for what the user will be entering into the system. Then this is uses labeled input. So that's why we talked about it. While unsupervised uses unlabeled. So then for more differences, you can still go through them. Input is provided along the model. This has been talking about it. Then here, only input is provided to the model. Then you come to supervised learning techniques. I'm trying to go fast, sorry, but you have to catch up because I want to make this video short such that you are able to understand. Then you come to supervised learning techniques. I have classification and regression. There are more, but I'm going to talk about those are the most two. Classification, the model determines the output of a digit by comparing the features of input dictated the class labels of the training data. So, what do I mean by training data? Training data is actually when you are testing our model, that's the data we are going to feed into the system. So, for classification, we shall look at the scanned image, or for the scanned image, we shall compare its features. We shall compare its patterns over its body part with the inputs of the training data. If there's an input, if the corresponding features of the numeric character, then we shall give you the corresponding output. Remember, I said supervised learning, both input and output are provided. Like if you put in this is the output. If you put in this is the output. So when you put in a new character, for us we just consider so we just consider so these are the patterns or these are the labeled parts with the input. So if there is any corresponding input with what you have inserted, then we give you the output. So that's classification. Then regression. Regression is able to predict continuous data. For example, 8.8 values. For classification, it has been used in classes 8, 7, 6. But then for regression, we are giving continuous data changes 8.8, 8.4, 8.9. And so those are not classes. So this is real values. So that's what we mean by regression. For it, it's predicting continuously. So that's also another technique in supervised learning. Then we come to unsupervised learning techniques. We have both clustering and association. Now, clustering, now, remember unsupervised, I said there is nothing given the computer. When the system or when the model receives the numeric images, it will group them into some data sets. It will group them into data sets considering the features or the similar features between the data being entered. So then it will form its own classes and it's able to give you the corresponding outputs. Remember, for unsupervised learning, I say it's unsupervised by actually a very good example of unsupervised learning is down Google. When you, for example, when you search anything, for example, data, it will give you many relevant websites for data because for it will just consider the patterns and classifies it into its data sets in order to give you corresponding outputs. So for clustering, there are many outputs and it will be the user to determine which output he or she needs, but most of the outputs are always right. Then if you go to association, for example, I will give a very good example of I still Google Chrome when you're typing in. You'll be saying data. It will normally gives you some corresponding words. Like if someone puts data, this is the next word. But that thing is actually done from what you have been searching normally. It will know by the previous users when they put in data, the next word it has been said. So that's an AI. It's using artificial intelligence with results. So here we are just we discover the relationships between the input and the output. Whenever the input and output relationships are understood, association is to occur. So it enables us, so for example, my model can recommend the next the user can enter based on the previous entries. For example, if you put in a 4, the model will say the next digit maybe is a 5 because in the previous, I've been maybe putting 4, 5, especially for example, my contact. Remember, your contact may be not changing. It's 0704. Then when you put in a 07, the contact says the next digit is 4. When you put a 0, then the computer says it's a 4. So sometimes it's auto-completed just because of the previous entries. Then I come to AI technical challenges. AI technical challenges, actually, here we are talking about the fuel of artificial intelligence. What do I mean by the fuel? It's because, remember, you cannot drive a car without fuel, is it? Yeah, you cannot drive. So you cannot do artificial intelligence without data. Just know we cannot do artificial intelligence without data. So when you talk about technical challenges, what are challenges facing data? The bias problem. The bias problem, like for example, you may, uh, for example, people who collect training data. For example, this a model, my model. We shall someone can consider only even numbers. Someone may not be liking odd numbers. That means my model will be biased on even numbers. We won't be able to understand all the numbers. So it won't be able to classify them. For determining the right data set is also another problem. You may find that a certain digit has features, but those features are, are being like they are similar to many data sets. So classifying it to one data set will be someone very difficult. Then data security and storage, of course, this is a common common problem. Since we are using large volumes of data, someone can hack into the system and maybe it is to its faultness. Limited variability in data sets is actually still like there is, for example, when you collect less data, remember the training data must be as much as possible in order for your AI model to be working functionally. Because it will be able to know most of the most of the data is going to be working on. Then I come to the possible solutions. Use enterprise cloud solutions. You can read about it, but this is mainly encountering some data security and storage, whereby people are given limited access. If you are like, oh, for example, in businesses, we have hierarchies. If you're a supervisor, there's some data which you cannot access to when you are a manager. So that's what we mean by use enterprise cloud solutions. Trace your person for data collection, someone who's not biased. Remember, someone who's trained, he'll know what to do. But someone who's not trained, he's a Muslim, he will collect only Muslim data. And Muslim may be like only odd numbers. Sorry, but just an example. So don't take into reality. It's just an example. Then I'll be discussing accuracy, core precision, and F1 score. Accuracy. Then, what do I mean by accuracy? Accuracy defines the portion of the correctly classified values. Before I talk about this, I'm going to talk about, let me share again the screen. I'll be talking about something about, um, I'll be talking about something. So let me share this screen. Um, Sorry, I'll be sharing this screen. This one, I'll be sharing it. So we have, this is the actual and this is the predicted values. So when you see, if you see at the predicted, this predicted, so these are the values the model is going to predict, and then here is the actual values the system is going to predict. So these are the true positives. If you see here, like what the model predicted, and these are the true positives. Yeah, but still the model can predict false positives. Yeah, remember we talked about classifying data sets. So it may give a different output, yet when that output is actual, in reality when it is wrong. So you have true positives and false positives. Then you have true negatives and then false negatives. It may predict a negative that this value is negative, but when in actual says that negative value is true. So I go back to where we have been. Accuracy, I got there still. We have been talking about accuracy. Now, accuracy defines that portion. Since the video, I want to make it short. You can contact me for if you want to know more about accuracy, call precision F1 score via the email. I'll be able to give you the input or the results. Accuracy defines a portion of the correctly classified values by the model. This model, how many values over how many positives has it classified? So that means you are getting the true positives plus the false positives out of the total values that are classified. So this is actually how many values can it classify, whether they are false or whether they are true positives, but when they are positives. Then recall defines how often the model defines true values. What do I mean by that? How often, like if it says that this is a true value and indeed it's a true value, so that's what we mean by a true value. How often does it predict a true value? That will be true positives out of false positives plus true positives, because you are predicting how often it predicts. Like if it predicts a true value, is it true? That's the question we're asking ourselves. Then precision defines how often a model is right when it predicts a true value. That's actually, if you see precision, precision. If it predicts a true value, is it right that it's true? But for recall, if it predicts a true value, how often is it true? What do you try to get the difference? Recall, how often does it define a true value? If it predicts a true positive, so that means we are saying we are getting a true positives plus two true negatives for recall, because those are true. That's what we mean by how often true. Then out of the total values. But then for precision, we shall get true positives out of true positives plus false positives. Because how often does it produce true values? If our score takes both recall and precision into account. So for instance, it considers both recall and precision. I'll be uploading another video about those four in order for you to understand more. Then for the references, those are the references I've used. Actually, there are some YouTube links whereby you can watch about accuracy and everything you can. And then that last one is a textbook about truth of artificial intelligence, modern approach. From those pages, you'll be able to know about supervised and unsupervised learning techniques. Thanks for watching. Everything you need to know about the sites, it will be found. If you want to get the sites, they are put in the description. Then for the link, link to my accounts are also going to be provided. Then you can able to such that we can able to collaborate. Thanks for listening. Hope don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.